They had no tech, no stores, no backup plan, yet they survived through wars, plagues, and winters. They built walls from straw, captured water from roofs, heated beds with stone, and preserved food with cold ash. No electricity, no machines, just knowledge. Some of their tricks, still smarter than what we use today. In this video, you'll discover 10 medieval survival systems, and at the end, one method so clever, you'll wonder why we ever stopped using it. Stick around. One of them might just save you too. Technique 1. Waddle and daub walls. In a world without insulation, without cement, without even nails, building a wall that kept you warm, dry, and alive was a challenge of survival. Medieval builders found an answer in what surrounded them: sticks, earth, and straw. They wove slender branches between upright wooden stakes, creating a flexible lattice. Then they packed it with a mixture of wet clay and chopped straw, forming thick, breathable walls. These walls weren't rigid. They moved slightly with time and temperature. The straw reduced cracking. The clay balanced moisture, warm in winter, cool in summer, quiet, repairable by hand. Archaeologists at Sutton, England, and Biskupin, Poland, uncovered ancient homes still standing on these very frames, proof of their endurance. Today, off-grid builders are rediscovering the same system. It needs no power, no tools, no concrete trucks, just patience and mud. And unlike modern walls that seal and suffocate, these walls breathe. They respond, they adjust, they survive. Because sometimes the best survival technique isn't hard or high-tech. It's humble, flexible, and built to last for generations, one handful of earth at a time. Technique 2. Hotstone sleeping pods. When firewood ran low and nights turned bitter, medieval people had to find a way to stay warm without setting the house on fire. At the Cluny Abbey in France, monks developed a clever system. They heated large river stones in a communal fire. Then they buried those stones beneath straw-filled sleeping pits or stone-lined recesses. The result, a bed of slow, radiant heat that lasted through the night. No smoke, no flames, no danger. The stones absorbed the fire's heat and released it, gradually warming the ground from below, not above. It turned frozen soil into a comfortable refuge. Archaeologists at Cluny uncovered sleeping chambers designed around this setup, matching descriptions from 12th century manuscripts. And today, bushcrafters still bury heated rocks under bedding for the same effect. This method used almost no wood, no constant tending, and yet it worked. Because survival isn't just about making fire, it's about learning how to stretch heat through the night, to hold on to warmth with what the fire leaves behind. Sometimes the best way to fight the cold is to lie right on top of yesterday's heat and let the earth do the rest. Technique 3. Inverted kiln heater. In the medieval world, warmth was precious, but fire was dangerous. So they built heat that flowed backward. The inverted kiln heater flipped how people thought about fire. Instead of sending heat upward, it trapped it in a clay dome, then released it slowly through vents near the base. A single burn could warm a room for hours, even after the flames died. Sketches from Tudor-era workshops show these dome-shaped kilns with side flues and sealed chimneys. And experiments at the Weald and Downland Living Museum, UK, confirmed how they worked, maximizing heat with minimal fuel. Unlike open flames, this system didn't need constant tending. It created no smoke inside, and it used 60–70% less wood than a standard fireplace. Modern off-gridders use the same concept today in rocket mass heaters and clay ovens. The principle is timeless: burn once heat long, because real survival isn't about burning everything hotter. It's about directing energy with intent, letting heat linger where it matters most. And in the dead of winter, when the cold creeps in and fuel runs low, a fire that thinks differently might just be the smartest fire of all. Technique 4. Rainwater roof collection. Clean water isn't always a river away. Sometimes it's falling right on your roof. Medieval villagers needed drinking water year-round, especially during droughts, winter freezes, or sieges. Digging wells was costly, carrying water was exhausting, so they built homes that caught water instead. Thatched roofs were angled with intention. Gutters carved from hollowed wood or split reeds directed rainwater into buried clay jars or stone basins. Cool, covered, protected from contamination. At the Iron Age fortified village of Biskupin, Poland, archaeologists discovered drainage channels and water collection points built directly into roof lines centuries ahead of formal plumbing. No filters, no pressure systems, just slope and gravity. Modern off-grid cabins still use the same concept, only now with plastic pipes and steel tanks. Because the survival trick isn't just finding water, it's about intercepting it before it touches the ground. Catch it clean, store it smart, and you'll never need to chase it again. When the rain falls, let the roof do the work. Let gravity do the rest. Technique 5. Cold ash packing. No refrigeration, no salt, no canning jars. And yet food lasted. In medieval monasteries, preserving food without spoilage was a matter of survival. One method recorded in 12th century abbey manuals was deceptively simple ash. After cooking fires, cooled monks collected the leftover ash. They packed root vegetables, dried fruits, smoked meat, even cheese inside barrels layered with cold ash. The ash created a dry, alkaline, oxygen-limited environment. It absorbed moisture, blocked mold, repelled insects, and left no aftertaste. Some foods stayed preserved for weeks, others for months. This method required no extra tools. Just waste from yesterday's fire and a container. Modern preppers still use ash to store eggs and root crops with similar results, because survival isn't always about adding something. Sometimes it's about using what's already there. Don't discard what's left from the flame. Use it to stretch what you harvest. When resources are scarce and rot moves fast, a layer of ash can be the quiet difference between hunger and enough. Technique 6. Honey poultices. English, 200 words. No antibiotics, no clinics, no disinfectants, just wounds and the threat of infection. In the medieval world, even a small cut could kill. So they turned to something sweet, honey. Bald's Leech Book, a 10th century English medical manuscript, lists honey as a core ingredient in dozens of treatments, not as food, but as medicine. Applied directly to open wounds, it acted as a natural antibiotic. And this wasn't just folklore. Honey is low in moisture, high in sugar, and produces hydrogen peroxide when mixed with body fluids. It kills bacteria, it seals out contamination, and it speeds up healing. The Egyptians used it for centuries. And in Anglo-Saxon graves, archaeologists have found ceramic jars with traces of medicinal honey paste. Modern science confirms what they already knew. Today, paramedics in remote zones still carry honey in survival kits, because sometimes the smartest medicine doesn't come from a lab. It comes from the hive, from something wild yet precise, sweet yet powerful. In survival, the line between healing and harm is thin, and sometimes all it takes to tip the balance is a spoonful of honey. Technique 7. Living fence. Willow and thorn. When wood was scarce and enemies were near, building fences became an act of survival. But medieval villagers didn't always cut trees. They planted them. A living fence was grown, not built. Willow cuttings were driven into the ground in dense lines, then woven with thorn branches. The willows took root. The thorns defended. Over seasons, this structure hardened into a self-healing wall, impossible to burn, hard to break, and painful to climb. Archaeological digs in Burgundy, France uncovered root matrices and planting rows that once formed such defensive lines integrated into property boundaries and livestock pens. Unlike dead wood, this fence grew stronger with time. It marked territory, blocked wind, and kept both animals and strangers at bay. Modern homesteaders still plant willow or hazel fences today, cheap, renewable, and beautiful. Because real survival isn't just resourceful, it's regenerative. To defend what you have, grow it. Let it take root. Let your walls live, and they'll protect you for generations. Technique 8. Double-layer wall with straw fill. When winter lasted months and fuel was precious, keeping warmth inside the home became the true battle. So medieval builders stopped thinking like carpenters and started thinking like thermoses. They built double walls, two timber frames set parallel, the space between them packed with dried straw moss or animal hair, then sealed with clay or lime on both sides. The result was astonishing heat from a central fire stayed trapped. Cold from outside had to fight its way through layers of air fiber and earth. Archaeologists in Lübeck, Germany, uncovered homes with this exact technique, walls still partially intact after 600 years. A survival design hiding in plain sight. Today, passive houses and eco-builders use the same multi-layer insulation just with fiberglass or foam. But the principle hasn't changed. Warmth doesn't come from more fire. It comes from losing less. Because in survival, the smartest wall isn't the strongest. It's the one that refuses to let go of heat. Technique 9. Side flue oven design. In a world where fuel was scarce, every ember mattered. So medieval cooks didn't just build fires, they built systems to reuse fire. The side flue oven was one of the most ingenious designs. Instead of venting smoke straight up, it directed heat sideways through channels under or alongside the cooking chamber. This allowed one fire to bake bread stew, soup, warm walls, and dry herbs, sequentially using the same burn. Excavations at Edward the Run's castles in Wales uncovered side flue ovens embedded into thick masonry still blackened from centuries of use. Their layout showed a clear intent control, the path of heat, not just contain it. Today, the same logic appears in rocket ovens and earth bag cookstoves. Why? Because survival isn't just about making heat, it's about making heat count. A smart oven doesn't just cook faster, it cooks longer, wider, smarter. And when you only have one bundle of firewood left, a side flue oven might be the difference between one hot meal and 5. Technique 10. Crop rotation 3-field system. Good soil doesn't last forever, not if you keep planting the same thing. Medieval farmers knew this, so they rotated. The 3-field system divided land into 3 parts, one for winter crops like wheat or rye, one for spring crops like beans or oats, and one left fallow to rest, regenerate, and recover its nutrients. Each year, the fields rotated roles. No fertilizer, no chemicals, just timing and trust in the land. At the abandoned village of Warham-Percy in England, archaeologists uncovered ridge and furrow patterns consistent with rotational farming used steadily for over 300 years. This method doubled food output compared to single-plot farming. It protected soil health, and it spread risk across seasons and crops. Today, regenerative farms still rely on the same principle: let the earth rest so it can keep feeding you, because survival isn't just planting hard, it's planting smart. And knowing that sometimes doing nothing to a field is the best thing you can do for it. These weren't accidents. They were systems born from observation, necessity, and time. Medieval survival wasn't about brute force. It was about patience, craft, and wisdom passed down through mud, straw, and flame. These techniques didn't just keep people alive. They built resilience, quiet, durable, and smart. So if any part of you still believes in hands-on knowledge, in working with nature, not against it, don't let these skills vanish. Subscribe, leave a comment, tell us which one you'd try. And keep watching, because the past still has more to teach than we think.